local, national, it does not matter. Tim Howard is everything you could want for this country and then some.
So he's owner, sporting director, goalkeeper. Memphis wants to play differently this year. Let's go ahead of the curve.
They admittedly did not have the type of personnel they wanted to last year, but this is how they want to play. They feel like they've done it in the offseason and gotten the right bodies in. Who are they going to embody? New York Red Bull. This is New York Red Bull too. High press, high tempo. They want to make sure that they go get them in the midfield, but then run the bodies the opposite direction. You get them running downhill, you get numbers on your side, you have the luxury to pick and choose whatever you want, you get into the final third. This is what they're trying to mimic, okay? Now let's take a look at how you implement it. This is the opening goal in the 4-2 loss at Indy 11. Yes, it's a loss, but watch, this is coming off the press. Quick little press up top, you go 3v3, lovely ball by their playmaker, Pierre Da Silva, and you find Brandon Allen. They get him running downhill, ball out in front, back to his scoring ways, recipe for success.
Memphis missed the playoffs last year. Birmingham made it in spite of a very poor start. Can't do that again.
One of the top 5 records of the entire USL Championship to close the season out. 9 shutouts. Oh, by the way, a 9-match unbeaten streak that included 7 shutouts. He changes personnel. He changes formations. He will not have to worry about rotating as many bodies, but guess what? In the offseason, they made the biggest turnaround, going from playoff hopeful to contender.
Here's a look at the real additions. It's in every line for the Legion.
That's the key point here. Alex Crognale, Columbus Crew guy that didn't necessarily break through under Berhalter, under Caleb Porter. Guess what? An opportunity to go on loan. Does well for Orange County. Does well for Indy 11. Akinyoti, the mainstay in the midfield. And Nico Brett, Bob Lilly's protege, who can put the ball on a dime anywhere you want, and he loves to tickle the nylon.
All 3 will have a chance to feature in this game. Tim Howard in Memphis 901 FC looking to reach the playoffs this year. To do it, they've got to get ahead of Birmingham in this group. We've got lineups, kickoff after this.
We would like to thank the city of Birmingham for all of its help as we work to safely return to play here at BBVA Field. Please direct your attention to the video board for the coin toss, presided over by Birmingham Mayor Randall Woodfin. Please remain standing for the playing of the U.S. National Anthem.
Welcome back to the USL Championship on ESPN. Game 3 of 8 over the course of the first 2 weeks of the championship's return to play. Devin, Birmingham, and Memphis have played some entertaining games in their expansion season, now year 2.
This is the 2-2 draw all the way back on May 4th. Little cracker from distance. Daniel Johnson's going to equalize. Still, my favorite, Adam Najim. Watch this little pirouette. Whoop! Forgot something. All the way to the touchline. Quick little touch, little back across. 2-1. And there would be a late game penalty that would notch it up at 2s, but I'll tell you what, they bring some firecrackers to this rivalry.
No question. Let's take a look at the lineups for this affair. We begin with Birmingham Legion. Nico Brett, one of their big offseason additions, on the bench.
One of the closest times that Tommy Sohn has actually played his lineup to the chest. Now, a lot of times he'll be a bit coy in certain actions, but this time he told us he's really proud of his outside backs. Johnny Dean, Mikey Lopez said they've been flying, two of the hardest workers recently. They can overload the midfield. Jaden Cervania, 17 years of age, making the move up top. Lovely to see him there. 901 FC. We talked about the revamp, the additions. How about the midfield? Kofi, Baxter, Reed. You'll notice Red Bull has its hands all over this without even knowing doing so. Reese Buckmaster, nice addition at outside back.
And Howard in goal for Memphis. Tim Howard, the face of the franchise of the U.S. men's national team. Closing in on kickoff. Just a moment ago, the USL, all 35 championship clubs and its players stood together in support of diversity, inclusivity, equality, and compassion with a 15-second moment of silence as the Players Association, the league, and its clubs all coming together to find the best way to support causes important to players around the league as we are all united against racism. Birmingham in black at home. It has been a long time since they were drubbed 7-0 in the playoffs by Pittsburgh on the road. And finally, they get to kick off a new season. The USL Championships return to play has inched to Birmingham, Alabama. The Legion taking on Memphis 901 FC. Capacity 35%, 30% rather for this game, just enough to accommodate all the Legion FC season ticket holders. And then they developed a socially distanced seating plan for the season that provides 6 feet of distance between fans in the stands who did not arrive together, essentially families. Is headed to the wrong side of Brandon Allen. There was a foul. Devin talking with Tim Mulqueen, head coach for Memphis 901 FC, wanted to put this game on his terms as soon as possible.
It's going to be a difficult one. On the road, restart. We've talked about the war of attrition before, but this is a whole nother animal considering what type of species they're trying to take after. Press, 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 high tempo, go, go, go. Not an easy one, especially in a rivalry. We set the precedent early, right? Go out on the road, pin them back in, but understand your limits as well. Know that you're not going to be able to do it for 90 minutes. It's a difficult thing to do when you're in mid-season form, yet alone when you've had about 2 weeks of training. Like, that's where you have to understand exactly how your system works and when to go after it.
Pierre De Silva. Down still, Devin, a young player. We saw him with Orlando City B all the way back in 2016.
Remember, he had that brief loan with St. Louis in 2017, 2018, excuse me. In the transition for Anthony Pulis.
Silva drives, and Brandon Allen skies this out of play.
A player like that as well, Mike, for Pierre De Silva. Technically, super sound. And the guy can do anything with the ball. It's having the ability to get regular repetitions and finding the system that suits him. The way that Tim Mulqueen wants to play, as long as he's in match fitness, he's going to be at his highest level. Can wander a little bit, still lock down things on the outside. Opportunity to combine with one of the USL Championships' great goal scorers in Brandon Allen.
Well done, Leo.
Slid away from Dwayne Muckett. He was a late addition to this lineup. Mark Birch, the captain of this side, had back spasms shortly before the team meal, before they left for the stadium. And And so there's a series of tactical adjustments that they had to make to recover, including moving Reese Buckmaster, who's on the ball now, from right back to left back, inserting Muckett higher up the field off on the right.
It's a curious decision we can dissect a bit more as the match goes on. You wonder exactly what the depth chart looks like on the back line as well as the boys up top. Recent acquisition, Cal Jennings, former UCF Knight, made his way into the roster as well.
Buckmaster, creative idea, De Silva, right at Matt Van Oekel. Away from Lapa. Makes his pro debut on the day out of Wake Forest. De Silva. Alex Crognale. Lumped forward. Doyle trailing away from Brian Wright. This attack, Devin, for Birmingham was supposed to look significantly different even when preseason was set to begin.
Need my preseason picks back. Reached out to the USL Championship Communications. Nicholas Murray picked the Golden Boot winner to be J.J. Williams. Well, that didn't happen as he took off for Atlanta United with the injury to Joseph Martinez. But still, some quality acquisitions, even with his departure. And you and I had the opportunity to see the Legion against Hartford Athletic. It was our last national game for the USL Championship at the end of last year, going into the playoffs, and they didn't exactly perform the way that they wanted to, but going into it, there was a different sense than what we saw between these two teams earlier in the season. That was when Memphis came to visit Birmingham back in July, I believe it was. And people talk about culture, I get that. For me, it was about identity. I think they've created a positive culture, and you could see that the players have bought into it, but their identity was still lacking. And that you can talk about formations, you can talk about where the players didn't fit or did fit. They found a way to grow throughout the entire season went on, and that only compounded itself in the offseason. That's why you get guys like Bruno Lapa, the youngster, and Jane Cervenia. They have the opportunity now to take some of these younger players, pair them with guys that have veteran experience with a coach that's seen the highest of highs.
Dean played a good ball forward. Cervenia, his birthday is tomorrow, and today is professional debut. An academy product here in Birmingham. I think the first person you think of out of Birmingham might be Chris Richards. It might be Chandler Hoffman. There have been some good players that have rolled out of Alabama. They're certainly going to try and improve on that yield that they've gotten in years past now that Birmingham Legion arrived last year as a chance to really set roots. Be a free kick here for the Legion. 7 minutes in their first match of 2020. Lapa puts it in play. Daigo Kobayashi. Not going to test Tim Howard from that distance. This is a rare game where Daigo Kobayashi is not the most veteran player on the field.
Don't tell him that. They've already shifted here a little bit. And to be fair, you're probably going to see a lot of rotation in terms of the formation for the Legion all night long. Jaden Cervenia has already rotated to the right a bit further than expected based on the conversations with Tom Sohn. Picking his brain, said, you know, maybe it could look like this, look like that. They have that luxury to carry that chameleon-like form and react based upon what the opposition is throwing at him. But right now, I like the way it is. Kasim going all the way out to the left. Bolu and Daigo just holding in the middle, and Bruno Lapa playing that 10 role. Bobby Muse, tell you what, he did a good job with this kid. Former ACC Midfielder of the Year, saw him firsthand multiple times, including College Cup last year. He can play.
Ryan Wright all the way through. Doyle slid to help slow that run, and Howard snaps it up. High expectations for Brian Wright, but his primary running mate up front, Nico Brett, who came in from Pittsburgh, unavailable to start, available off the bench. Cervenia turns it over. Baxter fouled. Brian Wright nearly through a moment ago.
He's going to find himself in a lot of isolated situations the way that they're lining up right now. Nice little tackle in the middle of the field, and you go the other direction. Not Liam Doyle getting caught out of position there.
The run forward by De Silva, cuts it back. Had Muckett closing in.
There's your matchup, by the way, Mike, the flip-flop. Mikey Lopez has gone over to the left. Johnny Dean now on the right side. He'll be one-on-one situations a lot with Pierre De Silva. Head on a swivel. Did some quality things at Wofford, but this is a whole nother level. Drafted by Orlando City, didn't sign. A great opportunity now to just step right in, start off your pro career in the right direction.
Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select, the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit selectsportamerica.com. Carried ahead by Muckett, followed by Akinyoti. Carroll won the 2016 USL Championship final, a member of Red Bulls too. Ball one high up the field. De Silva was trying to pull through, and it was a bit of out of sorts leap there. Caught Razak Cromwell. Cronali.
Good ball.
Put Segber's tough position, took it away from Kasim. That's where Cronali can really change the game for this side. That is a 70-yard pinged diagonal.
There's times to do it and times not to. And sometimes when you're in a one-on-one, you don't want to do it because, okay, if I launch it down, even if he wins it, 2, 3, 4 white shirts surrounding him, but that's not the case. You get him isolated. If he doesn't win it, worst thing is you reset the line. Everybody gets to push higher up on the pitch. But Cronali's distribution, whether it be at Orange County SC or his brief stint last year under Martin Rennie in Indy 11, top quality.
There's plenty of room out here to work with. Kofi, Lopez, Kasim. Then what do you make of Memphis? We talked about it right at the outset, wanting to get after it, use that high press. It seems like Birmingham hasn't had too much trouble with it yet.
Well, the ideology is great, but again, Mike, their backs are up against the wall just like everybody else, given what we're going through. The problem is not only does that take a boatload of conditioning to deal with, it takes time to implement throughout your team and the understanding of it. You look at the great ones around the world. Obviously, I'm going to fluctuate towards Liverpool. Had to get the drop in there, regardless of today's performance. But even they are still getting better every single time you step out. The system is a difficult one to master. It's never going to be flawless. The key thing is to understand you don't always have to press. Even when you're at top notch, you have to pick and choose your moments. because there are going to be times where one of you goes, the other doesn't follow, and then that seam opens up, and that's when you get picked apart. Right now, if you watch them, they've been pretty traditional in terms of their positioning. So lining up in the 4-3, Michael Reed hasn't stepped very high. Kofi and Baxter aren't venturing out too much. It's once that over-rotation starts to develop, which you want to happen, but you have to make sure the coverage is there so you don't get countered.
Segbers goes to ground, and another groan from this Birmingham crowd. Tom Sohn, the manager of this Birmingham Legion side, asked him about what he took away from last year, and he talked about needing a bigger, faster, stronger team, and that you don't really understand this league until you've been through it. But an incredible coaching resume, to be sure. Chatted with him a little bit about just the experience of being in Birmingham. He said local ownership group, the terrain of Alabama, woodsy ridges, southern affect. Ball forward gets clipped away. Ball dropping down again, and this time Cronali, who he scouted while he was working with Greg Berhalter in Columbus in between jobs, floats away. Tack on here for Memphis. Cross the ball that Van Okel has covered. Randall Woodfin and Willie Parker from Birmingham are in attendance today. Here's Tim Mulqueen, his second season as the Memphis head coach. He's known Tim Howard for about 30 years. Tim was 12 when he first started training him as a goalkeeping coach at St. Joe's Metuchen in New Jersey.
What a story that was, huh?
There's a little more to this story first.
Jose Baxter getting involved in the scrum here. Quite polite of the Englishman to introduce himself. It's a late challenge between the two of them, to be honest. Look at both going to ground. Be honest, Mike, there's a lot of things about the game I miss. That's not one of them. Knowing that the crunch is coming and you still have to leave your feet.
Well, that's why you were the hammer and not the nail.
Yeah. Pun intended for the Legion?
No. Competitive juices flowing after a tough foul there. And from that, no cards. And I would imagine the referee won't be so lenient a second time around.
Just a verbal thrashing in the opening 20 minutes to keep everybody honest.
Sure. I mentioned it a moment ago, but the mayor of Birmingham is in attendance. The city council president is in attendance, Randall Woodfin and Willie Parker. And this is a brand new venue that they built from the ground up a year ago with a $7.3 million renovation. As this rolls all the way up. Chance to get a cross away over the top of Cervenia. And Cervenia will watch that go out for a goal kick. Don't miss a minute of action in 2020. Sign up today. Get alerts all year long by following your club at ESPN.com. Search for your team, then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on your team's next match. Go to ESPN.com now. Click follow for your club. You're going to be getting a lot of alerts. 16 games in 13 weeks. We're playing again. Howard sends this out the other side. You know, from the sounds of it, it just seemed like Tim Howard at the time, 12 years old, was playing in the field and as a goalkeeper. His mom just sort of took him down to the field and said, Tim Mulqueen, coach my son.
He knew what he was getting. I mean, there's something about goalkeepers. You look up, you can understand that maybe just all the bolts aren't as tight as they're supposed to be. It takes something special to stand back there and let someone pound a ball at you at over 100 miles an hour.
De Silva working off the right now. The overlap from Segbers. Got Lopez dancing. De Silva. What a stare down that was. Then when you make it the first handful of games that we've gotten to see since the league kicked off again on Saturday, the level of play, we've talked with coaches in both conferences from all over the country, how they're trying to deal with coming off a pretty short preseason here.
The break has been pretty evident and prevalent, unfortunately. You see a lot of guys that it's not even preseason, right? A lot of the coaches, you start to pick their brain, they understand that they haven't had as much time to prepare compared to this winter and spring.
Wright got the shot away, and Tim Howard a comfortable stop.
And the performances has lacked, Mike, but it's simple. Again, you and I have discussed this on air, off air, in some of the other games. It's simple for us to go, this wasn't good enough. They weren't that great on the back line. It will get better, and it's going to happen in rapid succession. Not many teams have come out firing. Indy 11 looked nice. Actually thought, although they gave up a goal, New Mexico United looked pretty decent. Some new faces there. Phoenix Rising are back to their winning ways, of course. Pittsburgh Riverhounds look quality on the road in their game against Louisville City. Some teams are still trying to find their way. Some of that evolution has come throughout a match as well, Mike. El Paso Locomotive, Mark Lowry, they struggled a bit in their first half, got better in the second.
Comes on to Baxter here. Baxter curling. It's well off target. Jose Baxter debuted with Everton, was in the lineup as a 16-year, 191-day-old, the second youngest EPL player going into 2019 to debut. Tim Howard was the goalkeeper that day. You mentioned Phoenix earlier. Phoenix taking on Orange County on ESPN2. Our next in a long line of return to play. Of course, that game being preceded by, you and I have seen snippets of this, Path to Glory, highlighting the pro pipeline growing out in Orange County and Orange County's new relationship with Rangers. It'll air tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern time on ESPN2, and then lead right into game coverage where we should get a chance to see some of those Rangers players that came over and maybe even a few that spent some time playing at Rangers from Orange County. Cervania, great save, Howard. He puts it straight down. Dean continues, and this chippily in. Birmingham lead. Lapa's debut punctuated with a goal.
The first save, Mike, you think, wow, this guy's still got it. The second one's not his fault. Too much happening in transition and traffic. Watch the movement and deflection on this ball by Cervania. Coming off of Liam Doyle, able to react, and then it's just too many bodies overloaded. Dean gets a touch down the middle, just put it back in the mixer and let someone run off of it. Bruno Lapa known for his playmaking ability. Johnny on the spot with the ball up over the top. What a finish. So accustomed to him being the distributor to his fellow running mate Kyle Holcomb last year. This time he gets on the end of it. And just like that, Tommy Sohn gets exactly what he wants out of his rookie.
22nd minute, Birmingham Legion lead here. The Furnace is alive for the first time in 2020. That's got to be one of the most unique ways to celebrate a goal in American soccer.
A little bit different than the knee slide to the corner, right?
I would highly suggest not knee sliding anywhere near that furnace.
Really impressed, by the way, Mike, with Lapa's positioning. You have to understand that the role he's asked to play, and it was the same one for Bobby Muse at Wake Forest, that he's got to drop into the pocket, into the outside, down into the channels, and rotates a lot, but always be the ever-present playmaker in the middle of the field. And as soon as the ball rotates back out, he's not the highest of stature, finds himself in the right spot, though. Understands that a second chance opportunity will be coming his direction. In which manner, he's not sure. And yes, a bit fortuitous on the touch by Johnny Dean, whether he meant to get it there or not. But still, right place, right time. High pressure for a rookie, buries it.
So this is a turnover here from Doyle. Cervania steps in, and Wright. Ryan Wright cuts back, one-on-one with Howard, and the defender steps in to intervene. Kobayashi. Maybe held on to that a hair too long. Mikey Lopez. Through, clever idea. Times that's Lapa in a nutshell. Didn't have Cervania making the run. Muckett. Is this a chance for Memphis to level it? Takes a deflection off Bernali. Corner, Memphis.
It's an area of concern that you have to keep an eye on. Mikey Lopez, as talented as he is not accustomed to playing at that left back position. And Daigo Kobayashi had rotated over to the left. When Mikey stepped into the middle, that backside run became wide open because Kasim didn't follow through. Midfielder by trade, rotated to the back line by Tommy Sohn, and now to the opposite side of the field. Your body does some weird things to you when you're out of your comfort zone.
Ball toward Reed. Lopez sent it away. Can't clear that. Allen skies it. A gift. And the Fox in the box can't bury it.
Guess who? Watch the poor clearance. Not a bad little ball to the back post. Mikey Lopez right down the middle. Watch the whiff. Son, I'll get it. Gotta be better from here. There's no excuse whatsoever. And Brandon Allen, even worse. 6 foot on the doorstep. Just ring it and go home, my friend.
All ushered through. They'll bring this all the way back. They have played advantage. Dean hops off the ground. Talking with Tom Sohn, and I think he noticed Dean hadn't come up yet and made sure that he did get into the conversation.
Should have taken the hint. It's not often that a coach will venture out like that and let you know, hey, check out my rookie here. Pierre Da Silva. He's going to end up in the book for this one.
A yellow card.
That was the rush we were talking about, though, Mike, for Brandon Allen. Go all the way back to his time with Red Bull, Bethlehem, Nashville, the Rowdies. Obviously, the journey has been interesting the past 2 years. But a proven goal scorer, nonetheless, within the USL Championship. And when you haven't been in a competitive field for quite some time, something as simple as that drops right in front of you. Your excitement and emotion gets the best of you, blast it up over the bar. Can't imagine that that'll happen a second time.
USL Championship spotlight turns back to the West. Early Group B tussle It's Thursday, July 16th. Only 2 spots up for grabs per group. So Orange County and Phoenix Rising FC have a little extra on the line in a regional rivalry, adding a new chapter. Orange County, Phoenix, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. And we mentioned that Orange County docuseries, which will debut on ESPN2 immediately prior at 8:30 Eastern. Aren't going to want to miss it. Great little run through by Reed. Birmingham trying to play direct. Positive step by Zach Carroll. Lopez. Buckmaster, who was just officially signed this week. Buckmaster allows it through. Jose Baxter. Foul Cervania. Jaden Cervania's brother, U.S. under-20. Jaden plays for the Puerto Rican under-20s, had 7 goals in the CONCACAF under-20 championships back in 2018. Great article about him over on USL-Academy.com, being able to keep his eligibility to play at Wake Forest.
2 assists to go alongside that, Mike, as well. And was just about to say he's got to be careful because he's got himself in trouble a few times here in the opening 30 minutes. Didn't necessarily think our referee was going to brandish the card this quickly. Yeah, but why not? Pro debut.
Birthday tomorrow.
Birthday tomorrow. Yellow card. It's not a bad 24 hours work.
Dean, forward by Doyle. Buckmaster. Devin, you and I were both shocked when Reese Buckmaster got signed because we didn't know he was available. This ricochets to Brian Wright. Wright swerves it outside. Back in front, Wright slides it in. Birmingham by 2 at home to start 2020. And Tim Howard has conceded 6 goals in less than a game and a half of this 2020 season. Hung out to dry.
901 FC getting a taste of their own medicine, Mike. The turnovers in the middle of the field, and then we go the other direction. Bruno Lapa asks for this early. He gets it immediately. That's what you want out of your striker up top. Brian Wright does not have J.J. Williams. He does not have Nico Brett, but he has found a friend, and Bruno Lapa, and watch the vision. As clear as Evian, right back across the middle of the box. Lovely finish from Brian Wright. Let's play triangles. Let's play 1-2, and they're up by 2.
Goal in the 31st minute. Hydration break here in Birmingham, Alabama. You know, you may have been paying attention, Devin, to social media in the offseason. Birmingham has a pen pal. Isn't that great?
It's the best. So they start chanting. Here's how this goes. Starts here, goes across the pond. Let's say Twitter wasn't so kind to 901 FC. Magic City Brigade gets involved. Bluff City Mafia gets involved. The 2 clubs acknowledge each other. There's a relationship that's formed. We go back and forth. They start wearing each other's jersey. Celebrations on game day. Let's say the hashtags took an evolution into some things that maybe we can or cannot talk about on air. You know, there's some front office things as well. Birmingham Legion have an opportunity to kind of cement themselves with global football. They do that. Guys that have a relationship with Birmingham City over in England, construction companies. I mean, there really are 9 million directions this has gone, and it took a life of its own. Organic is not even the word, right?
No, it's a bit further than that. Certainly not manufactured.
Well, the best quote I heard was when they talked about some of maybe the not so nice words that were used on Twitter. Most of the article said, "Good luck finding that pixie dust."
on the outskirts of downtown Birmingham. Really wonderful vista over the top, those far side bleachers. Shy of $8 million poured into this venue to get it ready to be Birmingham Legion's permanent soccer-specific stadium home. That happened last year. You think about it, new field in Loudoun. Louisville opens their stadium last weekend. Great fanfare, had about 5,000 and a 15,000 seat venue. Chattanooga Red Wolves are scheduled to open their new stadium this year. Rolls all the way down as Memphis trying to find their way back into this game. They've won a corner, but Birmingham may have set a little bit of a blueprint here.
There are some teams in the developmental phase as well, right? Colorado Springs can throw their name in the hat. OKC Energy FC, Indy 11, everybody getting involved. Continued path of growth for this wondrous sport. Stuff that we've been anticipating for a long time in the United States, Mike.
De Silva, service, bounces all the way through him by Liam Doyle. Most certainly didn't expect that to reach him. During the pandemic shutdown, we actually became quite close with a Birmingham Legion fan. Outstanding young Rocket League player who he covered during the USL E-Cup that aired on ESPN3, Taylor Hodges, the pride of the University of Alabama.
Dewgate.
Mountain Dewgate.
Mountain Dewgate.
You can't use code red and think you're going to get by the tests. No way.
Watch the space on the far side, Mike, here to open up. Loads of green to work with.
Done by Colfie to cut that off. It's a late whistle, but the whistle arrives. Matthew Thompson in the thick of things again.
Mikey Lopez lashed out on the tail end of this as well. Doesn't like being hacked at. I don't blame him. Catches the backside of Kofi. I understand the reservations by 901 FC to maybe keep their actions harnessed in the opening 45 minutes. First game back. To be fair, the Legion haven't played a game at all.
Floated ball, knotted down by Akinyoti, and a rip knocked over by Tim Howard.
At some point in time, Mike, here, you got to hit the release valve and give someone an opportunity to stretch this game a little bit for you. Too much pressure being applied, poor clearances. It's Kofi. We just said on the challenge on the other side of the field, really like to see this midfield become more active, but a lot of mistakes being made by 901 FC. Just not willing to really stretch this at all. Legion are happy to just take it and run with it.
After the Prosper Kasim rocket parried over by Howard, the corner. Nobody there. You know, I think one thing that should be talked about as it relates to Tim Howard, there have been so many different national stories talked about over the course of the last few months. And Tim Howard has done a tremendous job of using his voice not only to guide his own actions, but those of Memphis 901 and the USL Championship as it relates to social justice. Provided a lot of guidance. Hugh Roberts, another guy who's been quite vocal, and the league has really tried to take their temperature and figure out the best way as a league to respond not only through word but through action. It's rolled all the way down. Segbers Cromwell puts it out.
He's hoping the gentleman in front of him can be a bit more active, Mike. Speaking of action, decision making is just very slow right now. Good opportunity for a break and just not playing it fast enough. You're gonna play the square ball, that's fine. You don't need 3 touches to do it. Touch, go, keep the ball moving. You're giving Legion too much of an opportunity to stay organized here. And look at all the space right outside the top of the 18. Someone's gonna drop in. See, Pierre De Silva just saw it coming from the outside, but now the window's already closed and you bring it back outside. Now he's out. You have to rotate one of your interior midfielders up. Got to push Buckmaster into the attack.
Muckett lays it across. Allen pirouettes inside. Gobbled up by Van Oekel.
It's not the ideal look for them, Mike, but that's some of the better sequencing we've seen out of them. The minute De Silva drops back in, and you want the ball at his feet or out in front of him in space, when he comes down into the middle, Buckmaster understood exactly where he needed to be. And this is a guy who's a recent acquisition, but where's his background? New York Red Bull. He understands exactly what the system is supposed to be. It's that over-rotation, guys dropping in, moving around the outside that will allow them to be successful. Just have to get everybody on the same page, and again, proper conditioning.
4 former Red Bulls in the Memphis starting 11, and another in Dan Metzger available on the bench. Try and put that in some context. Michael Reed here, captain in San Antonio, captain in Nashville. Muckett. Goes all the way down to Van Oekel. Go one step further on the earlier comment about Tim Howard. The Legion announced a partnership with the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. So the jerseys they're wearing today are custom kits. Howard off his line, slides it away. They're going to be donating the proceeds in their entirety of an auction that starts at halftime on Birmingham Legion's website for these game-worn jerseys to the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. These are 2 cities that are historically intertwined with the civil rights movement. And the current events of the world, when these 2 are playing together, it certainly does come to mind, and the teams and the players trying to use their platform. Rolled through.
He's on.
He is absolutely on. Lapa. Lapa scores! Give him 2! Give the Legion 3! And it's a dream home debut.
It's a dragged run at the bottom by the back line of 901 FC. Mike Liam Doyle and Buckmaster. Quick transition. And Bruno Lapa just skirts right behind it. Watch him toe the line. Overlapping run here. Lovely vision. Prosper Kasim sees him. Doyle rotates back over, and it looked like it was Buckmaster all the way on the bottom that keeps him onside. Then you just start to play catch-up. He's got the trailing run in the middle of the field. Brian Wright. Tim Mulqueen said we have to understand to pick and choose our moments. We can't be too aggressive. They haven't been aggressive at all, to be honest. There's frustration by Tim Howard, and understandably so, but he did not see the backside run by his defender, who didn't scoot up and draw the frat line with the entire rest of his back 4.
Floated ball, Lopez skies this, and Muckett. Segbers, Memphis blitzed at the outset here. Game that was scoreless in the 22nd minute. We've had a goal every 10 minutes since. Birmingham, intent on avenging their playoff defeat against Pittsburgh by that gaudy result, 7-0 in the Eastern Conference quarterfinal last year after a 10th place finish. Won them a spot in the preliminary round. Off and running. Muckett pack sets this beyond Van Oekel.
Here's the good news. In our conversation with Tom Sohn, and you talked about the preseason picks, I said to him, listen, I just got to get this out there right away since we haven't spoken that this year. I pretty much picked your squad for all the accolades in the book, and we had a laugh, and I said, listen, I got you guys for Coach of the Year and Goalkeeper of the Year. I did pick the Golden Boot winner to come out of this team. Now, Didn't realize that Bruno Lapa was going to throw his name into the mix. I had J.J. Williams, and he's gone, but hey, maybe, you know, little flip-flop.
Yeah, you know, Lapa's an interesting guy. Tom Sohn wasn't saying that he is Bruno Fernandes, but he's saying that's the guy he should be watching at Man United to improve to the player he believes Lapa can be.
Pretty sure Bruno Lapa will take that.
Yeah.
I record all the calls, Bruno. Feel free to pop on over. I'll let you listen to Coach. Conversely, Tom Sohn sitting at home going, or sitting on the sideline. He records these?
Yeah. 44th minute here. The USL Championships return to play. BBVA Field in Birmingham, Alabama. Last year they'd sell this stadium out for a game of this magnitude. Today, 30% capacity, largely season ticket holders, which is in accordance with official local guidance. De Silva has to try and trip his way back into the picture. They have been after the back line of Memphis with these direct balls time and time again, Devin.
Mike, the crazy thing about it is just a second ago when 901 FC is just outside the 18, it's 6v3 in favor of the Legion. So it's not like Memphis is overloading the box or pushing massive numbers up. They're pretty linear in their thinking right now, and they got to start to work together, better communication, because as this ball starts to bounce side to side in the field, they're just not rotating appropriately. That's why all this space just continues to open up. Again, Dwayne Muckett, turnover. Looking to the sideline, hands in frustration. I get it, but at the same point in time, you have to find a spot that eventually becomes the page turner. Might be for this game, might be for the season, but someone's got to do it.
Simple touch by Cromwell. 4 minutes of first half stoppage time.
The fourth official has indicated that a minimum of 4 minutes will be added to the first half.
Group G, so Charlotte, Birmingham, North Carolina, and Memphis featuring together, Devin. And if you're Memphis, you're starting to have the wheels turn. You're going to be a week into your 13-week season. You'll have 2 losses because the loss that occurred before the shutdown still applies. There's only 16 games.
Have to travel again next week.
At ATLU TD2. And then 3 home games where they might legitimately be attempting to salvage their season. They don't start to turn it around. Lopez, right. Howard.
Just going from bad to worse on that back line. Zach Carroll sliding. There's just a massive disconnect between he and Liam Doyle. And we're not down on the ground. We can't hear them. But the minute one slides, the other one has to come in. Buckmaster has to come inside of him as well. Everybody is just so off kilter right now. And a lot of frustration come from Timmy Howard. People at home are probably going, wow, they hung 3 on Tim Howard. He's been hung out to dry on most of them. You can only do so much as a goalkeeper.
Maybe the case again here. Turned over by Carroll. Another play will come back. The referee Thompson has had a very busy first half. This time Mark Segbers.
If you're going to card one, you got to card them all, right? Bad turnover coming out of the back. Zach Carroll can't get it right. Segbers laying chase. And that's just frustration. Down 3-0 at halftime. They understand they can't really gain any momentum right now. Now an opportunity from a set piece, Mike. What a dagger this would be just before halftime. Got an opportunity for about 1 more play. Watch for Lapa on the ball. Seems like he's pretty much done everything correct so far. Why not from a set piece opportunity? And they're not going to go to the box. Scratch that thought. Can always be hopeful, right?
They did find Lapa anyways. And for Memphis, they talked about being married to this system. This is the way we will play. It's the DNA from the opening whistle. And it's going to take time. You said it, Devin, from the beginning. There's no such thing as a perfect 90-minute press. Right now, there is no such thing as a 90-minute press either. Nice run through. Kasim. Shuffled out by Reed. Corner, Birmingham, final minute, first half stoppage time. Coming up at halftime, we're going to get a look at that Path to Glory docuseries. Orange County. Full series airs tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time here on ESPN2. Look at their partnership with Rangers. Some of those young stars they're developing there. Aaron Cervantes, young goalkeeper, already 3 years into his pro career. Ball across. Cleared out by Reed. Of course, that docuseries will be followed by Orange County taking on Phoenix Rising. Here on ESPN2 tomorrow night, Van Oekel. I think Birmingham's more than content, Devin, to take this right into halftime at 3-0.
So is Matt Van Oekel playing Keeper Wars. Not a bad person to have on the other end of it.
No, he'll probably tell his kids about that.
Yeah, I'm telling my kids about it.
It's a move by Segbers. De Silva out toward Muckett. De Silva just careens away from Jonathan Dean. Memphis is going to have to move quick to get this corner. Falls here for Muckett. That takes us to the break.
We have reached the end.
Not a bad start for the home squad, huh, Mike? I'll tell you what. Rookie Bruno Lapa can take a bow. There's still 45 minutes. But Bobby Muse is at home smiling. And the former Deacon has done his current manager, Tom Soden, proud. They sat, they waited, bided their time, and just exploded the other direction when need be. Mulqueen 901 FC have to find a way to gain some sort of momentum at the start of the second half to get back in this, Mike.
Well, you saw Tim Howard. There's likely to be a little bit of frustration in the dressing room from the 41-year-old. Well, Bruno Lapa and Brian Wright, 23 and 25 years young, have the 3 goals for Birmingham Legion. An emotional start to this match, and then Birmingham really did bring it. Impressive start through 30 minutes. We have highlights, stats, the peek at that Orange County docuseries when we return to the USL Championship on ESPN.
today. Legion FC thanks Encore Rehabilitation for providing sideline injury coverage tonight. Encore is proud to be the official sports medicine provider for Birmingham Legion FC, providing comprehensive athletic training services for the team and physical therapy with their soccer injury experts at the Inverness location on Valleydale Road. Encore has locations throughout the state of Alabama and is ready to meet all of your rehabilitation needs. For locations nearest you, go to EncoreRehab.com. If only checking in at your doctor's appointment could be as easy as checking in for a flight. Well, with Clearwave, the official sponsor of Birmingham Legion FC, it can be. Clearwave simplifies your registration process so it's quick and painless.
Welcome back to the USL Championship on ESPN. Birmingham up big 3-0 over Memphis. And we made light of the fact that Birmingham City and Birmingham Legion share a connection now overseas. But you could say the same about Orange County Soccer Club and Rangers, who've jointly shot and produced Path to Glory, a new documentary series that focuses on 3 players from each club. December 2019, Orange County and Rangers founded a soccer and youth development as well as commercial activities between California and Glasgow. Let's take a look at a sneak peek of the docuseries, which will air in its entirety tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern here on ESPN2.
I'm 14 years old. I play for Orange County Soccer Club.
While me do my two-step.
3 Glasgow Rangers Academy players are heading to Orange County on loan.
I think I could be the best player in the world.
So, Devin, 3-0 here to Birmingham, but when you talk about USL Academy and the plan for a academy to pro pipeline, Orange County at the front of that line.
Rangers Football Club now with a relationship with them. Steven Gerrard is their manager, 54 First League championships. I mean, what else could you ask for? A couple players on loan might be nice. And oh, by the way, a few that have had some previous experience with Rangers. Why not? Path to glory, path to success, Orange County Rangers.
3-0 Birmingham. We've got highlights from the first half coming up.
Partnership with the Birmingham
Birmingham over Memphis here on the USL Championship on ESPN. The Killers are blaring over the bleachers right now. Feels about right. Incredible run here by Birmingham to start. Let's take a look at some news and notes from around the league, Kevin.
I'm all about the League One return. Absolutely. Johnny Harkes and his wondrous lads at Greenville Triumph. Remember, made it all the way to the final last year in League One before being down by North Texas. Traveled to Fort Lauderdale CF. Ian Frey, one of the defenders, got a peek behind the curtain, been told that he's going to do some great things. And guess what? A little friendly face will be on the sideline. Darren Powell, former frontman from San Antonio FC, will lead the way.
Solomon Asante, reigning MVP, named Championship Player of the Week. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule in the USL Championships. Run of games on ESPN. Tomorrow we're back on ESPN2. OCSC and Phoenix Rising.
You didn't ask me to pick one, so I'm not going to. Tampa Bay Rowdies, North Carolina FC. Run it back on the rivalry Sunday. Sacramento Republic, Reno, Pittsburgh, and Indy. This early in the season, sign me up.
And we'll be on ESPN Deportes as well on Sunday. San Diego and Landon Donovan taking on LA Galaxy 2, who were throttled by Phoenix Rising in their first game back. So in Birmingham, it's been all Legion. 3-0 over Memphis 901 FC. We'll show you the goals, get you ready for the second half after this.
Transforming banking to put the world's opportunities in your hands. BBVA Compass is now BBVA, creating opportunities.
Interstate 65 alongside BBVA Field. Glad to have you back here with Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand, home of Legion FC, year 2 of the franchise, and as of now, they've started it with a bang. We take a look back at our first half highlights, and it just felt like Memphis didn't have everything together to start this game.
We discussed coming into the match, Mike, that Thompson had the ability to make changes. We saw it so many times at the end of last season. Stayed consistent, didn't have to do anything. Now, the back line of 901 FC did them a boatload of favors, made all the changes for him. Watch the deflections coming through, nobody steps. Liam Doyle goes to ground, Zach Carroll doesn't step, Reese Buckmaster is late to the party. Bruno Lapa gets his first professional goal.
He would have a hand in another 2 goals here. Brian Wright driving into this back line, not their most sterling representation, Devin.
Howard's frustrated here because of the shoulder drop by Brian Wright. It's really close. Linesman might have been behind the play a little bit, but I tell you, when you give yourself a chance to make plays, usually they happen. We saw it so many times from Legion towards their playoff run, and this is Buckmaster on the bottom. Now Liam Doyle steps, he stops, looks behind him, and realizes that the newly acquired left back, Reese Buckmaster, doesn't drop with him. Instead, the step comes, you get yourself into trouble. Bruno Lapa gets his second goal. Brian Wright gets the assist. Boys are flying at halftime.
What a start for Bruno Lapa out of Wake Forest. 10 goals as a junior, 10 as a senior, becomes a pro, and grabs 2 at his debut. Here are the stats. Memphis has held the ball. Legion have kind of beaten Memphis with a taste of their own medicine.
Spot on, Mike, and here's the best part. You let technology do the talking right here. Birmingham Legion, average positioning for their players, and I love this. 9 of their players within their own half. 8 are over half field for Memphis. But again, when you look at the overall run of play, 901 FC haven't really done anything with it. Need De Silva, Brandon Allen, Dwayne Muckett, light a fire under these guys and find a way to get the boys in the midfield going, because right now it is 3 separate units and they are being picked apart.
Devin, if you're Memphis, you have 5 substitutes to work with.
Make them.
You also can try and adjust here. How would you adjust tactically in this second half?
I'm making changes as the manager right now. Wasn't good enough. Bottom line, you have to get this going, and you got to get it going immediately. You look down your bench, you have people that are proven. Dan Metzger is there. Leston Paul is there. Cal Jennings, I understand he's a rookie. The guy put away 52 goals at the collegiate level. If Bruno Lapa can step onto the pitch for Tommy Sohn, someone by the name of Cal Jennings can do something up top. The question is how early does he pull the trigger, and at what area of the field did he put the pressure point immediately?
Birmingham in black, Memphis in white. There are changes at the half. As discussed, the rest of the world has followed in the USL Championship's footsteps. Once upon a time, 5 subs were the lay of the land in this league. They went to 3 subs in 2016, and due to the pandemic, back to 5 for the remainder of this season. Dan Metzger comes on for Memphis. And Raphael Mensagen has come on as well. Had a tremendous season at Lansing in USL League One last year and gets the call up into the championship in 2020. Birmingham, Alabama, the site. Ball ushered through by Reed. Lopez. Flicked up by Lapa. When he plays with confidence, it oozes out of him.
She's so calm on the ball, right? But like to throw away the term captain, maestro, anchor. There's a certain grace about Bruno Lapa when he's in the zone that just follows him all over the pitch, no matter where he tends to be. And that's contagious, man. It goes from player to player. You started to see that kind of hit a boiling point towards the end of the first half. Brian Wright was already on his game. Jaden Cervania started to come out of his shell. Look on the other side of the field. He makes the change. Tim Mulqueen for Dan Metzger.
Mensagen.
Josie Baxter in the middle of the field. 30-plus touches. Mike, I didn't even know he's playing. I mean, you got to get it going here. Again, the back line is at fault 100% for the goals that have gone on. But the opportunities came awry because of the lack of disposition that was going on in the middle of the field. Let's see if this new life brings a different outcome.
Foul from Kofi. See Kofi there, born in the Ivory Coast, came to the U.S. in 2009. Went through the DC United Academy before playing at Virginia. Then signed as a Red Bull homegrown. Spent last year in the championship, the Red Bull organization. Now part of this Memphis pivot towards a Red Bull-like system. Ball floated forward for Wright. Wright brought it down. That's as far as he got. Offside flag up. Finale. Cromwell. Went over and watched Cromwell in Ghana. It's interesting how Jay Heaps and Tommy Sohn have chosen that as an area they prefer to recruit. We talked to Michael Encian from Tulsa earlier this week, and he discussed going to Portugal and learning from coaches there, searching for players there. It's sort of an ever-expanding global world that the USL Championship is playing in.
Feels like every time you turn your head, the right to dream is making some sort of impact, that academy.
Yeah.
Those guys are ending up in Eastern Europe. MFK Viskov comes to mind. Loanees back over to the United States.
Inter-allies in Ghana tends to come up quite a bit. Brian Wright, the Canadian, tripped up. Five minutes into this second half, Memphis searching for a lifeline. Can't help but think about the conversation we had in the lead up to this. Now, not a one-goal game, but 2019 for Memphis, 23 one-goal games. Majority went against them. Tim Mulqueen said in this league, mistakes always punished. Certainly the case thus far for Memphis in their debut game coming off a pandemic shutdown. Seems fair.
Everybody sure does have a lot to say right now, don't they? Watch out, that touch.
De Silva flying out of that challenge by Cronali, who's shown a yellow card.
This had disaster written all over it, Mike, the minute that the touch comes. Watch this. Daigo Kobayashi never, ever gives the ball away like that. Seems to always be glued to him. And Cronali recognizes. Center back, though, I don't mind the decision whatsoever. You can't get to it, you got to make a play. It was green light the entire way if De Silva gets around him. He understands the decision he was about to make.
A yellow card caution has been issued to the referee, to number 21, Alex Cronale.
You just got to play smart the rest of the way, lick your wounds.
De Silva. Chested down and away from Carroll. I go Kobayashi. And now Dean.
Where's the show up top, Mike? No movement out of Brandon Allen right now. Good little check to Minsigan coming all the way to the right side. There's a 15-yard gap between he, Dan Metzger, and Brandon Allen. That little triangular movement as they came to the near touchline. And it's just the disconnect they've had to deal with all night long so far. Even when they retain possession and start to move forward, there's no real clear thought process as to what exactly they're trying to do. And that's the exact opposite of what Mulqueen was telling us. He felt like they had a much better vision and the execution in training had been better, but we are seeing the exact opposite here so far.
Corner for Memphis. They try and dig out of this 3-goal hole. Lopez. On the run, Cervania couldn't pick it up. Metzger played it wide, whipped ball in front. Michael Reed tried to get a piece of that. Cromwell there defensively. Cross whipped in again. Ryan right there.
Just trying to figure out how the last two players to clear the ball out of the back for Birmingham Legion, Johnny Dean and Mikey Lopez, both stand at 5'8". Someone in the box is bigger than them. You're 901 FC, go after it.
Well, that one had to get over Kobayashi to ever have a chance.
5'10". Line them up.
That ball only got about 5.5 feet off the ground, to be fair. Lofted ball, back post. Van Okel is a hardy 6'4". Quick distribution, brilliant.
Super smart to step on it as well. Well done by the 18-year-old. Quick little counter's not on. Hold it up, allow everybody to lay chase with you. You retain possession, go the other direction. Really good stuff by Birmingham Legion right now. Night and day from the start of last year, right, Mike? This is a completely opposite team. And even the team that was playing well at the end of last year, this is totally different.
Far more impressive.
They have a much better idea of how they're looking to play, and more importantly, they're able to execute. I don't care that it's the first game back and 901 FC isn't playing that great. They're doing exactly what they're good at.
Changes coming in an effort to, I'm sure, save some legs too. There are a wide variety of reasons why coaches have told us they've either scripted the game or chosen not to script the game. Daigo Kobayashi comes out. Time in Japan, Greece, at Stabæk, in Vancouver, in New England, alongside Jay Heaps, general manager of this Birmingham Legion side. So the 37-year-old checks out. And Jaden Cervania makes his debut and certainly didn't look out of place, Devin. I mean, you talk about the idea of an academy contract. They wanted to expand and improve his quick decision-making. You saw elements of what they're seeing in this kid day to day.
Glimpses is probably the better terminology, right? You understand what his composition is, and now they're just looking to expand on it a little bit. Playing him out on that wing. His brother Brandon, of course, with FC Dallas. It's a bit of a different role, hunkered down in the midfield. A wondrous growing opportunity, and not a bad debut for that young man.
Long touch, better be careful here. Long tug, and surely this is trouble for Zach Carroll. Surely it's a red card. And Memphis goes from bad to worse, down 3 and down a man.
Wide open, last man. Mulqueen said you had to. Look at night and day from what we saw last year. Brian Wright did not have the opportunity on a regular basis. Gets in behind. Almost immediately going the other direction. And Zach Carroll gets it. You got to be honest, though, buddy. If you're going to take him down, take him down. He tries to play.
In the 58th minute.
Little tug of war, and the referee's not having it. Immediate red, sent off. Would you say bad to worse, Mike? It's more like a nightmare at this point in time. 59th minute, down to 10. At least make a play on the ball if you're going to bring him down. I mean, I've been in that situation many a time, and by no means am I advocating for someone to go into a bad tackle, but you've gotten yourself in close enough proximity to at least go to ground and go for the ball. Instead, you're taking an early shower and you never even left your feet.
Thing back here by Birmingham. Van Okel, Cromwell.
You knew you were in trouble when your manager didn't even argue for you. And Mulqueen said you had to. It's a frustrating night for 901 FC. You know, Mike, coming into the match, you and I really felt the passion of the words from Tim Mulqueen and everything that they're trying to do here, and not saying that they're not capable of doing it. This roster is massively stronger, with all due respect to the one that they put together in their opening 2019 campaign. But you can just see that, you know, frustration started to mount 20, 30 minutes in. When you have a game plan coming in and almost immediately it starts to go south, everybody starts wheeling and dealing, trying to find something that's comfortable to them. Brandon Allen with the shank 6 yards out. Pierre Da Silva got racked on the floor a couple times. Here's another one. Didn't really see much of Dwayne Muckett. You drove into the midfield, Mike. Jose Baxter didn't see much of him. Michael Reed is playing chase all over the field. Not saying that he's having a nightmarish of night, but he's having to do a lot of cleanup for everybody else. Kofi, not there. Segbers has been all over. Buckmaster Doyle Carroll. I mean, it goes from front all the way to the back. And that makes it much easier to sing the praise of the Birmingham Legion, because they just sat back, waited for it.
Hydration timeout. Ladies and gentlemen, across
then counter.
the country, healthcare heroes are working
Hydration
every day on
break
the front
here.
lines of the fight against COVID-19. Please join everyone.
There's going to be a 15-second moment of applause for those healthcare heroes that are caring for those currently afflicted by COVID-19. Wonderful moment here. We pause for a moment for this message on USL Academy.
Until recently, many youth soccer clubs in the US existed independently from senior teams at both the professional and amateur levels. Many soccer communities didn't even have a local senior team their youth players could aspire towards. As the USL continues to grow and bring more senior teams to communities across the country, the USL Academy platform will build a bridge between youth and professional soccer. By driving collaboration between the local youth network and USL senior team, partnerships are formed, allowing for all organizations to work together in the best interest of long-term player development. Once that pathway is established, USL clubs will be able to field a reserve team, providing the top local high school age players a direct roadmap into the championship, League 1 or League 2 through participation in the new USL Academy League. For more information, visit usl-academy.com.
Back in Birmingham, 3-0 to the Legion over Memphis. And Memphis now down a player the rest of the way, Devin. A couple of changes at the hydration break. Memphis brings in Cal Jennings, pro debut, and Tristan Hodge comes on. Need to get an additional defender in to complete the back line with Zach Carroll being sent off moments ago. And a good chance for us to get a look at Cal Jennings. The numbers are outrageous. He'll lead the line here the rest of the way as Brandon Allen takes a seat.
Two-time All-American, did something right. 52 goals, 16 assists. Don't care if you're playing in a pub league. That's good.
On the run. Put out by Buckmaster. For what it's worth, Jennings played at UCF in the American Athletic Conference. Means when they played conference games, they'd see Memphis, and one would imagine played there a couple times along the way and may have scored a goal or two as well. Shoes on the other foot now for Jennings. His first touch of the ball. For as concerning as it'll be for Memphis in a really tough group, Devin. As this rolls forward for Jennings, slices this all the way through. Devin, you got to say that Memphis is going to have to really figure this out quite quickly. You don't want to be doom and gloom on opening day for Memphis either, but this puts Birmingham in a good spot. Charlotte picked up a win in their first game of the season before the pandemic. Put the league on hiatus for 4 months. And you've got North Carolina FC, Dave Sarakin's side. We're going to see taking on Tampa Bay Rowdies on the weekend. It's Hodge, defender from Trinidad and Tobago. Jennings. Sent downfield for Prosper Kasim, and Tim Howard pushes it away. Surely a perfectionist like Tim Howard going to take some responsibility for the 3 goals the Legion have hung on 901 FC today. By the same token, I think you could say the same as the Indy game, Devin, to start the year. Sometimes you're just left out to dry.
He admitted that there were some quality spots in that game, right? He just said that you make too many mistakes, you're going to be punished. You can say that at any level. Probably simple enough. You have to feel for him a little bit, right? The fact that they didn't exactly get all of the players, respectfully, that they wanted to last year. The blueprint's still in place. Everybody's bought in from front office all the way to the players. And people at home, you have to understand that when you want to implement a style, and again, he was very vocal with you and I, Mike, that he wants to go after the Red Bull 2 style. when you want to go after that, that's just not getting the players who have the ability to play that way. It's the players who want to play that way. You have to vet them in the appropriate light and say, listen, you're going to run like you're playing for 140 minutes. And you're going to do it in the span of about 90 tops. we're probably going to bring you off here and there because you have to. And if you don't have the guys that are willing to play that way, you're in trouble. By no means am I saying they're in that situation. Just saying, 2 games in, not the best of outcomes so far.
And you think about the conversations we've had with John Wallenick, played for Red Bull and now the longtime head coach for New York Red Bulls too. They really have a specific vetting process to try and get the right guys in there. And look at Florian Velo, and they bring in Aaron Long, convert him to a center back in that system, and ends up on the national team, rolling through that great Red Bull team that won the title in 2016. There is a blueprint, but it's not easily replicated.
Here's the great thing about those systems, Mike. If you're bred in it, you can almost assuredly play in any other system because it just slows down for you. The calculated chaos becomes much easier to handle on a regular basis. Getting yourself to that level is a whole nother conversation, and that's, I know what Steve's growing pains right now. The bigger issue is they're just sitting back. Let's play tic-tac-toe and pretty much do whatever we want with the ball if you're Birmingham Legion.
Rolled away from Eli Cronali, who came on in this second half. His debut out of Gahanna, Ohio, went to Lincoln High School, Will Trapp's high school. Phenomenal soccer program there outside of Columbus. Of course, his older brother Alex, a Columbus Crew homegrown, now playing for Birmingham. So 12 and 21 in their first action here together on a professional field.
Another Sasha Swarovski product. Thank you, Maryland.
Well, and he had to walk on there. Eli maybe not strong enough for the Big Ten game for a Maryland caliber program, went to Belmont. And then eventually, after years of going to see his brother play at Maryland, got the tape to the head coach. One thing leads to another, and he ends up being a starter there.
Donated his ball boy skills a couple times, I'm sure. Gave up the free hot dogs as payment and instead take a look at my tape. He actually played against Bruno Lapa in the NCAA tournament last year. Lost 3-0. Probably a bad taste in his mouth about that one. Lapa put one in the back of the net. Now they're teammates.
Lapa has 2 goals. Brian Wright has 1, and Brian Wright was a menace up front in that first half.
Take a seat. Deserve it. Grab a glass of water, sit back and watch the rest of the show. Guy's been all over the map and the most positive way possible. Look at him just explode between the 2 center backs. Is he off? It's a really rough angle to tell. Shoulder is out in front a little bit. Not a bad opening night for Brian Wright.
Sign of the times there, hand sanitizer instead of a water bottle upon coming off.
Just don't rub your forehead when you get done.
Appreciate you joining us. This is game 3 of an 8-game series of shows on ESPN2, highlighting the USL Championships return to play. Full schedule at uslchampionship.com. Prosper Kasim trying to get in on the act. Sends that screaming wide of Howard.
Gets a little deflection here too, Mike. A little one-on-one. Gets underneath of them as well. It's been a long night for those boys in the white jerseys.
Corner, Howard. All the way back to Lopez. You can follow your team and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN+. It's home to the USL Championship, USL League One, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the nearly 8 million sports fans who've already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today, ESPNplus.com. Of course, League One starting this coming weekend. Do we see another North Texas Greenville showdown in the final?
I'd like to say yes. The problem is a lot of those North Texas boys, they've wandered a little bit. FC Dallas has brought them in. Well, the boys heading down to the bubble, signed to FC Dallas contracts as well. Seen loanees, guys heading to the Real Monarchs.
And it's tough having a young team. Sure, they've been bred to win at every level of the youth system, but Greenville's got another stacked veteran team. John Harkes at the helm. As contact outside the penalty area goes without a whistle.
You can believe they'll be right there.
Expansion teams coming into League One, which is going to be fascinating, I think, to see now. You've got already a base coming in. Segbers latching on to his arm, tapping to his shoulder.
Forward Madison. They're still in it. Mikey Lopez going full Mingo here. Studs up, rough challenge. He thinks he got the ball. It's just, this is one of the frustrating ones for me as a defender, and I get it. He does get some of the ball. You're always going to be in the wrong when you lead with your studs. Now, mind you, I'd leave the ground and do the same thing, but I can't tell you how many times, even when you get there first, you lead with your studs. You know, they messed with the rule book a couple years ago, and they've never looked back. It's just not friendly if you have that D next to your name on the team sheet.
For defender, not for Devin.
Not for Devin, defender. Yeah, no. You stuck with me on that one. Appreciate you.
Memphis playing with 10 due to a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. Zach Carroll 15 minutes ago. Leston Paul be the 5th and final change.
This will be a hydration break.
And Kofi coming out. Birmingham ahead 3-0. Hydration break here. It was simply a massive substitution.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in your seats for a couple of minutes after the match for a fireworks show.
Let's take a look at how Birmingham built up this advantage. Opening goal came back in the 22nd minute.
All-American, ACC Midfielder of the Year, and now your first professional goal. Doesn't matter if you put another one in the back of the net, you've scored at the professional level. Bruno Lapa, he's normally on the dishing these things out. Instead, on the receiving end, tell you what, Tommy Stone said Johnny Deed, one of the hardest workers in the business right now for the Legion, gives him the assist.
Brian Wright finding Lapa. Why not your first assist as well?
1, 2, 3, 4. Look at how quick the explosion down into the final third, Mike. Small steps, but knows exactly what he wants to do with the ball. And then anything you can do, I may not be able to do better, but I'm doing it for a second time. Love his ability to just banana this run. And watch him, could have been unselfish and laid it off, but he's got the vision to be able to bury it in the back of the net. This kid can be a wondrous talent. Just continue to apply yourself. Quick little cutback. Thank you very much. 3-0.
So Lapa has a wonderful debut. You think back to that first goal that was scored, and you're talking 3 players all making their championship debut. It's Cervania hitting the ball that Howard has to parry out wide, and then Dean knocking it over the top, and then Lapa finishes it off. But you're talking about a couple guys who went the college route, and then you're talking a guy in Cervania who still has that option ahead of him right now on an academy deal, which is massive for Birmingham. If they can start bringing young players from this area in and giving them that road, the athletes are there to create superb soccer players.
Johnny Dean might have been more excited than everybody else on the touch coming back in. Good for him. So inside 15 to go, Mike. What are you looking for, right? Legion, keep the 0. Maintain the proper shape that we've pretty much seen the entire match. 9-1 FC, you know, challenge yourself a little bit. Most likely, game's over. Still a glimpse of hope, but it's very difficult to climb this mountain this late in the game. So give yourself something to build upon for the next match. Proper ball movement like this, whip something in.
Reed. Clearance went skittering by. Memphis' attempt to backstop it. Reed again.
Mike, you build as a team. Also, think about it from an individual standpoint. Give the manager a reason to choose you, because after this performance, it's going to be difficult.
Rudolph Mensa. Oh, look at this, Dean. Howard had that sniffed out. That was on a hope and a prayer. Chested down. Jennings trying to give his best account of himself in his pro debut, and Van Oekel gobbles it up. Plenty of games coming up this week on ESPN2. The USL Championship spotlight turning west. Group B on Thursday. Only 2 spots up for grabs in the group. Orange County taking on Phoenix. It's tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. And Path to Glory, the docuseries of Orange County and Rangers' new partnership. 6 young players transversing the pond. Will air at 8:30 Eastern time immediately prior to our coverage. We'll see the Rowdies of Tampa Bay take on North Carolina FC on Thursday. Friday, Sac Republic taking on Reno. Mark Briggs taking over that Sacramento side, whose expectations are sky high once again. A few more changes here for Birmingham impending. Handed it out to Metzger. Rolling along, Jennings. Pushed in the back by Cronali. Clean play. Devin, you talk about what the next 10 minutes look like. I think it's much more intriguing what we've heard from coaches about the idea that due to the regionalization of the league this year, the groups that they've made to reduce travel, you could see an opponent 3-4 times in 13 weeks. Sometimes you may see a team 4 times in 8 weeks. That's a lot of tinkering.
You just talked about that Phoenix-Orange County matchup. They're playing each other back-to-back in Cali. Imagine you're a Phoenix Rising player. And there's a lot of that floating around. Some, they say, to the rich go the spoils. How about Louisville City? 11 home games, 8 in a row. Indy's got 10 with a 5 in a row stretch. Go east and west right now. It's fun to see all the groups and how they've broken them up, though.
Yeah. We've spent, I think, enough time, you and I, together trying to figure out where's your group of death. It feels like an elongated World Cup setup where you're just trying to be in that top 2, make it into the 16-team bracket, and take your chances once you get there. As Braxton Najib comes on for Prosper Kasim. And how's this for a debut for Birmingham Legion? Najib, a 17-year-old from Utah on an academy contract. Bruno Lapa making his debut, an assist and 2 goals.
Not a bad night whatsoever. We've talked exactly how good he was. Beautiful debut by that young man. Sadness just months ago after bowing out of the College Cup, and now Great start to his professional career. Should be very proud of his performance. How different is this? Tommy Sohn brings Nico Brett off the bench. Talked about adding depth. That's not a bad little move.
You know, Devin, if you listen closely, you hear the public address announcer. Bruno Lapa just got quite the applause for only having one game in that Birmingham shirt.
Well, respectfully to Bruno Lapa, he probably wasn't in Sohn's plans prior to Nico Brett, right?
The injury, right.
So Nico Brett steps aside, understandably so. Now they're just getting some game minutes in him, trying to remain fit. Lapa could have just played his way into this team with his performance tonight and everything that went on. And the good news is you have the ability to move so many pieces now. The great thing about Nico Brett, throw him on the wing, throw him up top. Bruno Lapa has now given you a reason to make a difficult decision, and that's exactly what you want as a manager. You want to have a reason to look down the bench and feel bad about having to leave someone off the team sheet.
Nico Brett making his Birmingham debut, spent 2 years in Pittsburgh and piled up 32 goals. Quite the option to have on your bench. But when you listen to them, it sounds like they're prepared to play multiple formations. They're aware that Anderson Asiadu is out for this game.
Massive miss in the middle, by the way.
And then Nico Brett, they felt was closing in on 100%, but didn't want to risk 90 minutes for him, so they get a chance to get him some competitive minutes here as Memphis down 3 and playing with 10 due to a Zach Carroll red card. But they feel like they can change their formation suiting personnel. You may have to change it because now you want to get Asiadu and Brett and Lapa on the field at the same time.
Not a bad problem to have. Just have to be careful. You don't want to mess with the chemistry too much. Well done there by Michael Reed. Just continue to cycle here if you're 901 FC. Spread their wings a little bit. Let's see some imagination in the final 5 minutes. Legitimately nothing to lose. Have a little fun. Go out and express yourself. Let's just see if you can find a way to end this game on a positive note, because it has been a rough night.
They'll head to Atlanta. Take on ATL UTD2 next on the 18th, and then they get 3 home games. Really could prove critical. By the time that 3-game homestand is over, you're saying 6 down, 10 to go. Tomorrow night, half the glory. Orange County's new partnership with Rangers. That airs on ESPN2 at 8:30 Eastern, followed by Orange County and Phoenix Rising. Phoenix won 20 games in a row last year. Story that transcended the championship. I think people everywhere started to pick up on what was going on there.
It's old news, man. Go win 21. What a ridiculous streak it was. And they understand it doesn't matter what the records were. Regular season, Western Conference, still fell short, right? The one thing that eluded them is not up on the mantle. Work left to do. Much like the Legion, redefining what they wanted to be. Phoenix just kind of broadened their reach a little bit, added a lot of depth to their roster, which is scary to say because they were already good. Orange County feel like they have something to say about it, though. That's become quite the rivalry over the past couple years.
And for all that Phoenix did choose to change, they still have Solomon Asante, the league MVP a year ago, and you won't want to miss him. Floated back the other way. And out. And a goal kick here for Tim Howard. Devin, we're seeing this proliferation of longtime players, men's national team stars, not only from the U.S., but elsewhere, like Tim Howard, trying to get a stake in the game moving forward. So you're talking about DeMarcus Beasley trying to get a team in Fort Wayne, Indiana. You're talking about David Villa putting a team in Queens, New York, Queensboro, which will open in 2022. I'm talking about Landon Donovan in San Diego. And of course, Tim Howard owns part of this Memphis team. Didier Drogba in Phoenix. Everyone wants a piece of what's happening in this country, especially leading into the World Cup.
Mike, there's one area that no one's addressed.
Okay, bring it.
How about guys with the ability to even do that? Making the money is one thing, right?
Minsigen lays off to Jennings.
But to have the financial wherewithal to actually be able to make that investment, it's a difficult thing to do, to be able to save that type of money over time. And that gives you an idea that this is a premeditated thought that goes back quite some time, of not just securing your future, but being able to make an impact. And those are two very different things. You can make an impact by being a coach at one of your local clubs and go coach U9s, and that's admirable as well. But to be able to get involved, ground level, ownership, whole nother argument. Hats off. Not an easy thing to do.
It's interesting. You're almost leaving people out. Kosuke Honda at Orange
right.
County owns a piece. It's
still waiting on that initial investment for Kerr FC, you know?
right.
The Kickstarter's been sitting dormant for a while.
Reese Buckmaster. Get the feeling both in Memphis and in Birmingham. Yes, Birmingham is a local ownership group. Yes, Memphis is a local ownership group, and Tim Howard is taking a stake in it, but there is something unique what they're trying to do. Talked to Tom Sohn about it, the head coach for this Birmingham side. He goes, you never really know how a new team is going to be received, but if you give it to the community and help bring them together, that support gets returned. Has been the case. Loaded ball up toward Doyle.
The fourth official has
3 added minutes
indicated
here.
A minimum of 3 minutes will
Maybe
be
a chance to
added
get this
the
across
second
from
half.
Paul. All right, Devin, you've watched enough soccer this weekend. Where does Birmingham stand among the league's elite, or is it too soon to tell?
It's too soon to tell. Unfortunately, 901 FC didn't really give them that much of a battle. And as well as Birmingham has been able to play, what if it's a different opponent, right? First game back, jitters, fatigue, there's a lot going on. Now, we'll say this. Their overall composition has been one of the better performances that I've seen, because teams have probably put together a better final result in terms of how the play was, but just their ability to maintain their shape has been great.
Advantage played, ball through, seeking Mensah, 19-year-old Ghanaian.
Definitely right there at the pecking order at the top, though, Mike.
The eye test is good. We'll find out in this group, of course, with North Carolina in there too, and that Charlotte side that always seems to play a good brand of football under Mike Jeffries.
Here's the great thing that you want to really keep in your mind when thinking about what you asked me. You're going to get another look in a couple days, because these guys both play 3 and 4 days, Saturday and Sunday this weekend. Birmingham Legion traveled to the Battery on Sunday the 19th. It's 4 days away. Flip the script real quick, recharge your batteries, and how about on the other side of the ball, 901 FC's playing Atlanta United too. So don't have that long to sit and either A, dwell, or B, bask in your glory. You got another job to do right around the corner.
Well, they're chanting for donuts because last year that's what a shutout meant. I believe for the players, right? The fans brought them for the players. I mean, Tom Sohn brought refreshments to the fans as well last year. There is a real give and take. You can see the donut on the scarf there on the far right.
Oh, the fans are staying lively. The players want to pick up the tempo a little bit here. Let's have a fun at the tail end of this. Again, most of these, not most of them, almost half your team has just stepped onto the pitch. A couple changes. Let's throw 5 into the mix. First time you and I have had the opportunity to witness the full 5 go.
Memphis will have some work to do. But for Birmingham, they return home and return to play is perfection.
Ladies and gentlemen,
3 goals in the first half to run away from Memphis 901 FC and pick up their first 3 points of the season.
Memphis 901 FC 0.
Mike Thompson promised us changes, so did Tim Walqueen. But the Legion, start to finish, better club. Red card didn't do 901 FC any favors. Bruno Lapa, hats off, my friend. What a debut performance. 2 goals and an assist. He may be young, but he led from within by example. Everybody around him will be grateful. Tim Howard gonna feel frustrated with his performance. Both these guys get back at it on the weekend.
Birmingham over Memphis. We'll wrap up this latest edition of the USL Championship on ESPN after this. Birmingham over Memphis, and the fireworks continue here as 3-0, all in the first half. Legion knock off 901 FC, and both teams return to play in the USL Championship. Look at the full-time highlights, and Devin, it starts in the 22nd minute as this Memphis team didn't quite get off the ground. Birmingham took full advantage at home.
There are key spots on each of these goals that you'll want you to keep an eye on, Mike. First one's number 24, bottom of your screen, Johnny Dean. All he's trying to do is bring this back across his body. To be honest, it's a pretty poor touch from the outside back, but that's what happens when guys are in the right places at the right time. Bruno Lapa puts him up 1-0.
His debut would just get better and better. Another turnover forced high up the field by Lopez. And again, Memphis made to pay.
Watch the middle of the screen this time around. Liam Doyle. Now, is he out in front of you? Yeah, he might be, but here's the problem. You can't let him get goal side of you. The minute that he starts to stretch in front, you're in trouble. Stop your run if you think he's that offside. They get in trouble once again. Now watch the bottom of the screen. Here you go. Reese Buckmaster wearing the 19. Keeps everybody on side. Bruno Lapa, multiple options. Cut it back. Give it to Williams. You can go all the way to the backside. You can go to Cervania. I got this. Hold my water. Watch how good he is in transition. Quick little cut back across the body. Far post, 3-0. They wouldn't look back. They would get a little bit of help. Red card in the 59th minute. The problem was 901 FC just never really got to what they wanted to do, Mike. Here's the transitional red card. Go in the other direction. Zach Carroll, if you're going to make a play and take him down as the last man, at least make a play on the ball. Instead, little backpack ride, not happening. Really well done by Brian Wright to keep him upself the entire time, by the way. Really good job. And that was kind of the end of it, right? 10 different substitutions. Everybody got an opportunity to play. Don't care about the possession. Legion dominated start to finish.
Yeah, in the end, all 3 goals in the first half to knock off this Memphis side. Let's take a look at what's coming up here in the USL Championship on ESPN schedule. Our next game on ESPN Deportes comes Sunday. San Diego and Landon Donovan taking on Donovan's favored side over the years, LA Galaxy 2. That's a 10 p.m. Eastern kickoff, but tomorrow we're back on ESPN 2.
Don't sleep, by the way, on July 20th. I think it's people for easy to look and go. Hartford finished bottom of the East last year. Loudoun, yeah, all the youngsters. They know what they're doing. They've added a lot of pieces, Hartford specifically, and Loudoun is one of the better teams, much like Birmingham Legion at the tail end of 2019. They made a run, almost squeaked into the playoffs.
Well, we look forward to sharing tomorrow night with you. Orange County will take on Phoenix, 8:30 p.m. Path to Glory, the docuseries, followed by game coverage at 9 p.m. Tim Howard's side goes on the road, and in their first trip of 2020, trip up 3-0 for entire Vista World Link crew, led by Aba Ponte, Devin Kerr, alongside Mike Watts saying, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow night. It's Birmingham 3, Memphis 0. So long.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.